What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over several chapter 5 tips that I wish I knew sooner. A lot of these are going to be like very specific, very unique circumstance tips, but I think they can be helpful. And if you have been playing chapter 5, you've been grinding a lot, you probably know of all of these or some of these, but it's unlikely you know of all of them. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, remember to give it a like, subscribe, like some more, and comment down below something that you learned from this video. So the first we're going to talk about is going to be these underground safe houses, I guess. You can actually see these on the map. They're marked by like a little red diamond location, and the loot in here isn't really that special, but there are these weapon crates that you can, just take the weapon out of, similar to what you'll find in the vaults next to the upgrade bench. And these are typically blue rarity or higher. So again, it's not the greatest loot ever, but maybe your landing isn't the best, or you're just looking for like some supplemental loot. Getting these can give you a decent amount of loot, and like I said, they are marked on the map, so knowing where they are in the POIs you like landing could be pretty helpful. The next is going to be about flow berries. You'll be able to eat these as a consumable, and they give 10 shield and like somewhat of a zero gravity effect. But what's crazy with these if you combine the zero gravity jump with something like a shockwave grenade or a launch pad, you're going to go much further than you typically would. So given the situation, maybe you're on the edge of the map where there's like launch pads on top of the mountains, you can eat a flow berry and then pad, and you're going to go much further than you would otherwise. And then the same thing goes with the shockwaves. And this is very easy to make happen anywhere around fencing fields, or if you're just in an area that has flow berries. But fencing fields does have a lot of flow berries. So if you're ever in that area and maybe you're not in zone, or you're just trying to get away from something, eating a flowberry and then using the shockwave will get you pretty far. When you go to the new vault locations, and this has just been my experience if you're going to any of the places where there's like bosses and the AI guards, for some reason these bosses and AI guards just tend to focus one person for like way too long. So I've had situations where somebody's fighting the boss and I just walk right past the boss and all the guards and just, basically barrel stuff the enemy with my shotgun. And this is, not only is it easy to make happen because the bosses and the guards ignore you, but I feel like the enemy really isn't that like just ready to respond to you, because they're just being shot at by so many guards. There's like the music, there's all the audio of the guards shooting and stomping around and stuff, so you can catch a lot of people off guard just by like running right up to them when they're fighting the boss. And typically the AI guards will ignore you because they're already aggroed onto the person fighting the boss. Another thing you might want to take advantage of if you are going to an area with the AI bosses is that the bosses this season have like a second wind once you break their shield, where they will stand still after you break their shield, and then you can damage them during that, but they'll do an animation and then regenerate their shield. So when fighting the boss, I think it's ideal to make sure your weapon is loaded, or you have a second spray weapon to like spray them with once you break their shield, because if you break their shield and then have to reload, you kind of miss that time to like damage them when they're in that animation. And if you do this fast enough, you can just straight eliminate them before they actually get their second wind if you time it properly. So don't break the shield and then reload. Maybe get their shield super weak and then reload. And especially in team game modes, if you do this properly, you will be able to eliminate the boss before they get their second wind. I feel like it's harder to make that happen in solos, but I think definitely in duos or trio squads, you should be able to eliminate the boss before their second wind even happens in those game modes. And that's going to be nice because you're not going to have to deal with as many guards, because when they have their second wind, they spawn a second shield and they spawn more guards. So if you can eliminate them, you're gonna have less guards to deal with, and you're also just going to do it faster, which is going to be nice because then you can get into the vault, you're less likely to get third partied, etc. Another thing you might want to keep in mind is that there's these lights at the POIs that you can kind of like use as grind rails, but unlike grind rails in the past, they don't negate fall damage. I don't know why this is the case, but you can take fall damage when jumping off of these lights, which is super annoying. So just keep that in mind. I've seen a lot of people die to this. It's pretty lame. Hopefully they fix it sometime soon. Another thing that you're going to want to know is that the grapple blade, which is one of the mobility items this season, for some reason in my experience, whenever I use it and then swap weapons, it like stops me where I was. It like kicks me out of the grapple blade animation. So you don't want to swap off the grapple blade until you've reached where you want to reach. And that's like kind of pivotal in like making this weapon feel good. If you've ever like grapple bladed and you're just like, I go nowhere with this item, it might be because you're swapping weapons too quickly. And that's a problem I personally had with this item when I first used it. I was like really annoyed because it felt like it wasn't working half the time. But that's because I was so used to, grappling and then swapping to my shotgun in something like Fortnite OG, or when I would use shockwaves, I shockwave and then immediately try to swap to my shotgun. That way I'm on that weapon when I get to where I'm trying to go. With the grapple blade, you need to time that a little bit better, because if you swap weapons too early, you will just basically cancel out your grapple blade and be left kind of like stranded in the middle of where you started using it and where you were trying to go. It's really weird. Another bug this season, which may be fixed by the time you're watching this video, or hopefully is fixed by the time you're watching this video, is that for some reason porta bunkers always face north. These were recently unvaulted for zero build, but in chapter 5 it's bugged and they always face north. So usually when you would throw a porta bunker, it would just face the direction that you were looking when you threw it, but now it always faces north, and this can really, grief you in some situations, because if you're looking at an opponent that's south of you and throw the bunker, they're going to actually have easier access into your bunker. And there's just a lot of weird situations. So just, if you are going to use bunkers, keep this in mind. I don't really play off of it that much, like I'm not that worried about it, but you just need to keep in mind that like sometimes it might face the wrong direction and that you need to be ready to deal with that. You can mantle over your bunker. If you jump onto the front corner of it, you can mantle that corner. That's how it's been the entire time bunkers are in the game. So if you do get put on the wrong side of your bunker and just want to quickly mantle in, that is something you can do, but also just sprinting around the side or through the doors will be an easy way for you to, get back into that bunker and hopefully use it. Another change, which I believe was changed in Chapter 5, is going to be that cars no longer cause fall damage. So I'm sure you might have had situations where you were hit by a car this season, or vice versa, where you were in a car and hit somebody. But for whatever reason, players hit by cars are impervious to fall damage, and I've had this happen several times from both perspectives. Like, I've been the person hit by the car and I didn't take fall, and I've also hit people with cars in situations where they definitely should have taken fall damage and they didn't take any. So that's interesting. One change that I've seen a lot of people complain about in Chapter 5 is going to be that the bosses at the forecast towers are way too far away and they don't even know where they are. Like, they go to the tower, they see the blue indicator on their map, but the boss and its guards are nowhere to be seen. What you can do is you can actually activate the computer at these radio tower locations, and it'll make the guards basically start shooting and try to fight you. So if you ever are in a situation where you don't know where the boss and the guards are, just go to that computer, hit the activation button, and then the boss and its guards should start shooting if they are still alive. If they aren't alive, the key should be on the ground on your map, but if someone has the key in their inventory, I don't think they'll show on the map at all. So that's just something to keep in mind with these radio towers. If you're having a hard time finding the boss, just go and activate the computer. Next, we're going to talk about sniper glint, because I've seen a lot of confusion about this online, and I will have examples to show on screen during this portion. So a lot of people think the glint is tied to the sniper and that you will get glint for any attachment. And then I've also seen people say it's just for the 2x and the 4x. The way sniper glint works in this game right now, as of the time I'm recording this video, is that it has nothing to do with the weapon you have, it's just the attachment. The 4x scope has glint even if you have it on an assault rifle, and then obviously if it's on the sniper it will have glint, and I should have a clip showing that the assault rifle with 4x also has glint. What doesn't have glint is going to be the 2x or any of the red dot sights. So you'll see on screen right now, I aim in with a 2x sniper, I drop it, and then I have this player aim at me with it, and there is no glint on the 2x sniper, and there's also no glint on the red dot snipers. So if you want to use either of the red dots or the 2x scope, you won't have sniper glint. It's only the 4x scopes that have glint, and it's regardless of weapon type. You can put it on the ARs and they will also show sniper glint. And keep in mind, this is as of the time I'm recording this video. I think it's definitely possible and sometime in the future that they may change this. But just for now, there's no sniper glint on the 2x or either of the red dots. And another thing that a lot of people may be caught off guard with is that some of the attachments actually have downsides. So it doesn't say this anywhere, in the menu when you're equipping attachments, but some of the attachments in the game right now have downsides. I'll have a post on screen now from Osiren. They're basically like a data analytics site for Fortnite. And it says here that drum mags will increase your magazine size, but it also makes it take longer to reload. So there's like that trade-off there. You get more bullets without having to reload, but it will take you longer to reload, about like 15 to 20% depending on the weapon. And also, suppressors will reduce your range slightly From my understanding of their tweet, you'll go from your max damage to your mid-range damage about 5% sooner with a suppressor than you would without it. And then you'll go from your mid-range damage to your final damage fall off 10% sooner, which isn't the biggest deal. Basically, the weapons in Fortnite have 3, damage fall offs, and you're going to reach that final fall off about 10% sooner than you would before. So if a weapon had 10 meters, and then it went to its lowest damage, you'll now meet that at 9 meters. So it's really not that big of a deal, I don't think, especially with this season, because the weapons being projectile and how good the snipers are, I feel like I find myself using like ARs, SMGs, everything. I feel like I find myself using those at not as long ranges as I was in the past, because the projectile nature of it makes it just way less convenient that you'll hit shots. But also I'm pretty consistently carrying a sniper this season, so that's pretty ideal for long range. And also a lot of other people are sniping. So if I'm like, 50, 60 meters from somebody, I'm not that keen to like peek into them with my AR and potentially get sniped. I would rather just peek with my sniper and then throw out a shot and then, go back into cover. You don't have to be as exposed with a sniper because you only have to peek for a short time. So I feel like there's a lot of reasons why the weapons aren't, or why the long range doesn't matter to me as much, but that is just something to keep in mind if you are concerned about that. And if you use the suppressor on your weapon, you are going to reach that damage fall off a bit sooner. The only time I would really care about this is with shotguns and SMGs. I think I wouldn't really care about it with ARs or the sniper, but with my shotgun, I don't want to mess with that range at all. Also, 2 of these tips were told to me by my Twitch chat. I believe Nox told me about the underground weapon caches, and then Shark told me about the NPCs at the radio tower. You can activate the computer to make them aggro you, which is super helpful. Thanks to them for that. But that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys found this helpful, informative, interesting. I hope there was some tips for you that you hadn't learned before, or something that you could pick up from this video. Like I said, more situational tips than usual, but these were a lot of things that I thought people might want to know, but didn't really deserve its own dedicated video. If you guys enjoyed this, give it a like, subscribe to like some more, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.